helped hundreds of clients on the gym floor and online to lose fat while still enjoying drinking alcohol socially. Now, this is to ensure that they don't turn into boring bastards like me, who now doesn't really drink much alcohol. For some context, in my 20s, I used to drink a lot, go out partying. I used to work in finance, going into Canary Wharf in the finance district of London and going in my suit, going out for work drinks midweek, dating, parties with mates at the weekend, and I used to just get myself in this rut of drinking all the time for the sake of it, and it was enjoyable at the time. But like I say, now my clients just take the piss out of me for being boring and going to bed at 9 p.m. So the effects of alcohol on the body and how it's going to impact muscle building and fat loss is based on my own knowledge as a coach, having coached hundreds of people through the process, and also years of trial and error and experimentation for myself. What does reducing my alcohol intake do to my physique over time, to my sleep? How does it impact fat loss and building muscle, and also my mental well-being? So if you're looking for someone with a PhD in alcohol research, that's not me, but I've done a lot of research myself and applied this with my clients and myself. So first thing is alcohol negatively impacts sleep. So I've observed this myself over the years. Decrease of alcohol intake has massively improved my sleep quality. Even 2 drinks, if you're having a couple of beers on a Friday night solo and you just drink casually, you may think that you're all good because you probably drift off to sleep quicker, but you're negatively impacting your sleep quality. So if you wake up feeling groggy after a couple of drinks, that's why. We cannot get into as good quality deep sleep, and it has this sedative effect where you drift off to sleep quicker, which people confuse with alcohol actually helping sleep. When sleep is then negatively impacted, the problem is when we go into a deficit, if our sleep is below, say, 6 hours a night, and you're never really catching up on that sleep, when you are really underslept, your body is going to burn muscle and fat. Now, what we want for fat loss is to burn belly fat or fat in general and maintain your muscle mass so that you look lean and toned and get that physique that you're after. If you are sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night, or it's terrible, your body's going to burn muscle and fat, which is not what we want. So ideally, unless you're someone that suffers with insomnia and there's not much you can do, if you are in control of making your sleep quality as good as you can, it's going to really help you in your fat loss efforts. Second thing that I've really noticed is alcohol and building muscle. I've been able to build a lot more muscle in the last 2 to 3 years of reducing my alcohol intake versus the prior years where I felt like I was training 6 days a week, putting so much effort in and just stalling in the gym. The weights never going up, I was always too tired, and the biggest changes in physique I've seen has been in that period of time where I'm cutting out alcohol. And this kind of makes sense because what it does is alcohol decreases testosterone levels, which is a hormone related to muscle growth, and also alcohol is going to reduce muscle protein synthesis, which is a fancy term used for the process by which the body builds muscle tissue after you've applied the stimulus in the gym. So you go lift your weights in the morning or whenever you do, body then has a response, senses that stimulus, and then in order to build new muscle tissue, you need sufficient protein intake, a good diet, good sleep, all of these things in check, and then your body's going through this process of trying to build that new muscle tissue. And if alcohol is negatively impacting that, as well as your testosterone levels, it's pretty much impossible to build a massive physique, build the physique that you're aspiring to if you're drinking all the time. So you need to limit it to social occasions or wherever you can. The thing I've noticed is reduced stress levels over the last few years of reducing my alcohol intake, which makes sense because the science behind this, having researched into articles done by far more intelligent people than me, like Andrew Huberman, etc., is that it's meant to increase your baseline cortisol levels in the days following drinking. So your body essentially has to clear the alcohol out of your system. And so this is why if you have big drinks on a Friday or Saturday night, if you go into the office on a Monday morning, you may be feeling more stressed. Linda sends you an email that you probably should have replied to on Friday, and you're getting a bit agitated and anxious about it. And it's because of this effect that alcohol may increase your stress levels in the following days. The term anxiety for a reason, right? We all know sometimes you're anxious when you're hungover. What have you actually done the night before? This is because alcohol is impacting your stress levels in the brain. Fourth thing is diet. You and me both know that the chances of me inhaling a kebab at 2 a.m. when I'm sober is quite low. The chance of me ordering a dirty Deliveroo at 2 a.m. if I'm sober it's not happening. Now, if I had a few drinks, that then leads to you spiraling out of control with your diet the following day when you're hungover, and it just makes it a lot harder because you've got more cravings when you're hungover or when you've been drinking. And it probably links to the thing about sleep that we talked about earlier. where if your sleep is negatively impacted, when you're underslept, your hunger hormones are thrown all over the shop. Leptin suppresses your appetite. Ghrelin, which is Greek, from the Greek word growth, means to initiate appetite. So if these hunger hormones are all over the shop because you've been out sending it on a night out, then that's why your cravings are higher and you're more likely to reach for that kebab. What should you take from this video? I'm not telling you to completely cut out alcohol. Life is a little bit more boring without having it at the odd big social occasion. For example, I will still have a drink at a wedding, at a birthday, if I'm going to a rave or a big night out. I'll maybe save it for those big special events, and I probably won't be teetotal and go completely sober. That's not what I'm saying you have to do. But I am saying that in my experience over the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen huge benefits on cutting out those casual drinks, right? So if you can get in the habit of not having 1 or 2 and just saving it for bigger events, I will usually go 1 or 2 months without a drink and then plan ahead for when I'm having a drink. And this is what I do with my clients to make sure that they know what days can they have alcohol, how do we actually fit that in with their calorie target, have some lower calorie days, plan in some higher calorie days so that you know for that night out you can factor in a couple of drinks, still get changes in shape you want without going on an absolute mad one and feeling like shit. We all know that a night out is more exciting if you're having a drink than if you're completely sober. Having said that, I'm quite impressed with myself because I actually did karaoke last weekend completely sober. So if anyone wants to try and out-rap me, good luck on that. Most of you watching this, you want the best of both worlds. You want to see some changes in shape, feel motivated by your gym training, see some progress in the mirror, but you also want to enjoy your nights out and your social stuff. So if you are unsure on how to go about that and you've got any more questions, drop them below. Hit like if you found this useful and subscribe for more content, no bullshit advice to get in shape, lose fat and build muscle. See you then.